All right, guys, so this is the start of our last chapter that we're going to go over. And in this chapter, we're going to go over all areas, volumes, surface areas, things like that. So hopefully it's stuff that you guys remember from middle school. Most of this you guys did in middle school, but we're going to go over it again and, of course, probably go a little bit deeper than what you did over there. So just to review some formulas. Now, some of these you know or you should know. Some of them may be new to you, and that's okay. We're going to go over all of them. We're going to practice all of them. All right, so a triangle, guys, and you can do this two ways. The area is 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. These two formulas are the same, just written differently. So when you're talking about the base and the height of a triangle, the base is the whole part. So this would be the base or the base. And then the height is the straight up and down height. Okay. Now, the base and the height have to be perpendicular. You have to see a right angle somewhere. Otherwise, it's not the base and the height. All right. So a rectangle, 1/2, or sorry, not 1/2. The area is just base times height. So the base is right here, and the height, once again, we're straight up and down, is right there, okay? And we still would have right angles if these are all rectangles. A parallelogram is also base times height, okay? So the base is all the way, and remember the height is straight up and down, okay? So height here, base here, and once again, the base and the height, there has to be a right angle, okay? This here is not the height, okay? We want straight up and down, not slanted. All right, so a rhombus, guys, there's two formulas for a rhombus, so depending on what the diagram gives you, depends on which one you use. Now, the first one is just base times height, so like we did in parallelogram, because remember, a rhombus is a parallelogram. Okay, that's why that works. Or there's another one that's 1/2. This D1 represents diagonal one, so that would be the diagonal one, times D2, which is the diagonal 2. Okay, and it doesn't matter which one goes first, just the two diagonals multiplied and then multiplied by 2. Okay, a kite is the same way, guys. 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. Okay. All right, trapezoid. There's a few more elements here. So the area of a trapezoid is 1/2. B1 and B2 represent base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Okay, so the base 1, remember the two bases of the trapezoid are the two parallel sides. So if that's base 1, that has to be base 2. And now the height is right here, right? And once again, we know that's the height because here's that right angle. All right, last but not least, you guys should be pros at this, is the area of circle, pi r squared, where the r is just the radius. All right, so let's look at some examples here. Example 1, we have this figure here. So we want to do two things. First, we want to figure out what kind of shape this is. Okay, so this is a triangle. And then after we know it's a triangle, if you need to go back to your formulas due, we want to find the formula. So area is 1/2 base times height. Okay, I'm big on highlighting things, guys. You know that by now. So my base is all the way down here. And then my height is straight up and down. And remember, you will have a right angle. Okay, so my height is what's highlighted in yellow. So if I go and work it through, area equals 1/2. My base is 14 times my height is 12. And then if I put that into my calculator, I get my area equals 84. Don't forget to put your units. That's feet squared. All right, so here is another triangle. And the area is 1/2 base times height. So I want you to go ahead and do this one on your own, and then we'll go over it. All All right, so you should have gotten 21 as your base and 9 as your height, and we know that is the height because right here, this right angle. It doesn't matter that it's outside, we still want it straight up and down. Okay, so when you plug that in, 1/2 times 21 times 9, you put that in your calculator, you should have got 94.5. Don't forget the centimeters squared. All right, let's look at example 3. This is a rectangle. And the formula to find the area of a rectangle, if you need to know it, go there, is base times height. Okay, well, here's my base. Here's my height. So if I plug it in, I get area equals 8.7 times 3. And then if I plug that into my calculator, that gives me 26.1 units squared. All right, so example 4, find the area of this polygon. Okay, now this looks like a parallelogram. So if you go back to your formulas here, you know that a parallelogram, the area equals base times height. Okay, so once again, I'm going to highlight, here's my base, and then I look for my right angle to find my height. So here's my right angle, which means this has to be my height. I'm putting it in there. Okay, so area equals, my base is 15, my height is 11.2. And then if I put that into my calculator, I get 168 feet squared. All right, so let's look at example 5 here. Find the area of the rhombus. So it tells me we have a rhombus. Now if we go back to our areas formula sheet, we actually have 2 different formulas for area. We have base times height, or we have 1/2 times diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. All right, so this 9 is representing this, and this 5 is representing this. Okay, those are parts of the diagonals. Okay, and so because it's given me parts of the diagonals, I'm thinking I'm going to use this formula. Okay, so think of a rhombus. The diagonals bisect each other because it's a parallelogram. So if this is 9, this also has to be 9. And if this down here is 5, this piece here has to also be 5. Okay, so if I let my diagonal 1 be green, my diagonal 2 be blue. Okay, my diagonal 1 is this whole thing, so it's just 9 plus 9. So area equals 1/2. Diagonal 1 is 9 plus 9, which is 18, times my diagonal 2 is this whole thing here, so 5 plus 5, which is 10. And if I put that into my calculator, I get that is 90, don't forget your meters squared. All right, guys, we're just cruising right along. Let's look at this kite here. Okay, so this is a kite. And you probably don't know the area of a kite, so go back to here and you'd get that the area is 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. Okay, well, let's look at what we have. This 5 here is talking about this piece up and down. And then this 2.5 is talking about from here to here. Okay, so this whole thing here from top to bottom of this diagonal is 5 plus 2.5, which is 7.5. Okay, that's one of my diagonals. I need this one here. Okay, so notice this 4.5 is talking about from here to here. And notice these hash marks, it tells you they're the same. So this is also 4.5. Okay, so this whole thing here is 4.5 plus 4.5, which is just 9. Okay, so let's let, I don't know, blue be diagonal 1, yellow be diagonal 2. It doesn't matter. You can have those switched where the yellow's the diagonal 1 and blue's the diagonal 2. So if I plug numbers in, I get area equals 1/2. My diagonal one, which is blue, is this right here, which is 9, times my diagonal 2, which is up and down, which is 7.5. And when I put all that into my calculator, I get 33.75, and that is in feet squared. All right, guys, let's look at this trapezoid here. Okay, so if you look at the front of this foldable on your formula, you'll find that the area of the trapezoid is 1/2, parentheses, base 1 plus base 2 times height. Okay, so the base 1 and base 2 are the two parallel sides of this, okay? So here's one of them. I'm just going to make that base 1. And then here's the other, and I'm going to make that base 2. Okay, now height, remember, look for the right angle. That'll tell you your height. So that means this has to be my height. So that number will go in there. All right, so if I write this out, area equals 1/2. My base 1 is 10, plus my base 2 is 15, times my height, which is 8. Okay, and if I put that all into my calculator, I get my area is 100, and don't forget that is inches squared. All right, guys, last one, and then you can try some on your own. So the area of a circle, okay, you should know this hopefully. Pi r squared. If not, go back to the front of this foldable, pi r squared. Okay, now this 22.6 is referring to the entire diameter. Okay, I only want a radius. Okay, so to go from a diameter to the radius, you just divide by 2, so 22.6 divided by 2 is 11.3. So this here is 11.3. Okay, so my radius is 11.3. So to find the area of this, I just do pi times 11.3 squared. And if I put that into my calculator, I get roughly 401.15, and my units is yards squared.